Hey, 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 it's Tuesday at 2, talking diecast, talking NASCAR racing. We are so glad you joined us. Circle B Diecast in Concord, North Carolina. It is a rainy, cold, dreary day here in North Carolina. Oh, but I'm telling you what, I'm so pumped up because we get to talk a little NASCAR racing, some diecast, and so that'll warm the spirits on a cold day here in Cabarrus County of North Carolina. Victor is on the pole position. We've got Alex, we've got Andrea checking in. So really cool stuff. Scott's checking in as well. So it's all fun, all great to have everyone with us here. And we are rolling along, and the season is rolling along. Wow. I mean, what are we at? We're at Daytona, Homestead, Vegas, 5 races in. Holy cow, where is time going here? Pretty cool stuff, but it's been a great season, that's for sure. Goes back to Michael McDowell and Christopher Bell winning down there in Daytona. Then we had the Hendrick duo of Slick Willie B and Kyle Larson picking up the next 2 wins, and Martin Truex Jr. getting the win at Phoenix. And boy, I'm telling you what, old Truex, he got that car dialed in at the end, didn't he? Oh, man, I'm telling you, he was good, he was good, he was good, he was better, he was better, he was better. He was spectacular at the end, and he nailed that final restart, and it was game, set, match for Martin Truex Jr. First win of the season. He had 1 win last year at Martinsville Speedway. I gotta tell you, and I see some 5 races, 5 faces, exactly. Yes, Victor, Atlanta is this weekend, correct. Good stuff. I got to tell you, I had the chance to interview Martin Truex Jr. in Victory Lane, or out on the start-finish line, which is Victory Lane in 2021. I've interviewed a lot of guys in Victory Lane. There is not a kinder, more appreciative winner than Martin Truex Jr. And I noticed it because I had his Martinsville win last year, and I think the year before I was in Victory Lane for one of his wins the year before, and he is just a good guy. I mean, and when he wins a race, he's appreciative of the crew, he just really is low key, and when I've left, and like I said, I know this is the second time, I think it's the 3rd time. When I leave Victory Lane interviewing Martin Truex Jr., I have a really good feeling about the world. And you know, I mean, and I interview a lot of people in Victory Lane, and I've had a year. I mean, Michael McDowell in Victory Lane at Daytona, that was pretty special. Christopher Bell in Victory Lane at Daytona, that was special. William Byron was big down in Homestead. You know, that was his 2nd win. But there's something about Martin Truex Jr. He is just really, really fun. So neat stuff. So it is good stuff. And that's what we're talking about a little bit here today. Martin Truex Jr., the race winner from Phoenix, is available. And so you can go to www.circlebdiecast.com. That's circlebdiecast.com, and get that race winner for Martin Truex Jr. So Blake says they definitely need to repave for the 2nd Atlanta race this year. 24 years since the first repave. Blake, you go to certain circles with that talk, and you're going to get into a fight. First and foremost, they would not be able to pave it in between 1 and 2 races. A paving project on a racetrack anymore takes quite a bit of time. So they, in theory, could maybe do it after, I don't even know if they could do it then, after the summer race. They have a summer race there. I like old worn-out racetracks. That's just my preference. I think that brand new racetracks look shiny, they look new, and they rip around there, and it takes a few years for a track to age. Now Atlanta, 24 years, and the problem is we're getting to the stage now where the grip and the wear of the racetrack is not the problem. Is the track deteriorating, and they may need to. But Blake, if you were around a couple of years ago, someone said they're going to repave Atlanta, and everybody lost their mind, including Dale Earnhardt Jr. And so they've not repaved Atlanta since that talk. It's going to have to happen at some point because of deterioration, but it's tricky to do. And when you're tearing it up, what do you do? Do you redesign? Do you do anything? I mean, and I don't know. I think there's a lot that goes into that, and I don't think it's a matter of slapping down pavement after the March race and being back there in June I don't think that's an option, and I know that's not going to happen. And new pavement, a lot of times in NASCAR racing, is not what we need. We need more old pavement, is what we need. Old, worn-out racetracks. And we've got one at Atlanta this weekend. Oh, and the drivers go down there. And they're like, I love Atlanta, it's worn out. I love Atlanta, it's worn out. I love Atlanta, it's worn out. 7 laps into the race, when they're chasing that car around and the car's sliding up the racetrack, they're screaming, I hate this place. I hate Atlanta. I hate this place. And then they get the car dialed in where they're the only car going good and everyone else is sliding around out there. And they're all like, I love Atlanta. I love Atlanta. This is a great, great racetrack. And it should be a fun weekend, that's for sure. Good stuff. Good stuff. Alex has, yeah, do you think 16 winners? I hadn't thought about it, Alex, but Jeff Burton has a podcast out, and I haven't listened to it, where he says, I think it's quite possible. And when you think about it, we've added Michael McDowell, we've added Christopher Bell, and William Byron just snuck in last year. We might. We'll just have to see. I think here's my argument. I think we'll have a fair number of winners. I'm not sure if we get beyond 16. I think we get close to it. But what I saw at Phoenix, I think we've had an abnormal start to the season. Kyle Larson would be someone we'd add to the playoffs that we didn't have in the playoffs last year too. So I don't know. Maybe we are. Maybe we are getting a little close there. But I think we saw at Phoenix the cream starting to rise to the top. When I say that, Martin Truex Jr. got the win. Denny Hamlin. Kevin Harvick has not had a good start to the season, but he has had good results. When they find the speed, and I didn't say if they find the speed, I said when they find the speed, Kevin Harvick's going to be back winning races. Logano and Keselowski are going to win races. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know. I'm torn on that. And honestly, I thought about that when I saw Jeff Burton's comment, and then just the fact that you've asked about it too, Alex. I might need to sit down and do some ciphering here and see what I think on that, because you start to pencil in some other people, and we're going to be close. We're going to be into double digits, and we might be mid-double digits. And the thing of it is with a dirt race, with multiple road courses, and with 1-2 more super speedway races, yeah. I mean, now that I think about it, again, I hadn't really thought about it, but now that I start to say, well, wait a minute, we could add a couple. We're going to have 5 or 6 of the regular cast of characters that are going to get there. So that takes us to 11. Okay. And then there's other guys like a Blaney and a Bowman and guys like that should win. So that takes us 12, 13, 14. We get an oddball winner at the dirt race, or we get an oddball winner at one of the plate tracks, or we get an oddball winner at one of the road courses, and we could be there. Just doing the ciphering in my head. Cool stuff. It is neat. It really, truly is. Fun stuff. Let's see. Briscoe's dirt racing truck. Anything getting produced? Not that I'm aware of. Haven't heard anything about it, but it's just challenging to see where we go from there. Yes, Victor, Bristol Dirt is next weekend, correct. So we've got Atlanta this week and Bristol Dirt next weekend. So good stuff, yes, for sure. Hey, let's talk a little Martin Truex Jr. We have got some of his stuff in stock, and let's talk about a couple of these cars. Speaking of Bristol, not the dirt, the concrete, there is the All-Star race car from last year, autographed by Martin Truex Jr. You see the number on the back of the car. Not on the back of the car, but on the back of the door area of the car. And so Martin Truex Jr. autographed diecast. That one is in stock. And that's a really, really good looking race car for MTJ. So check that out. You can get that order up now. Tracy in our department will get that shipped right out to you. And speaking of Martin Truex Jr., here's last year's USO car, his patriotic car that he ran, I believe, at the Coca-Cola 600. With the red, white, and blue paint scheme, Bass Pro Shops tracker boat, the USO on the back of it, autograph on the windshield. So we have got that one in stock as well. So MTJ cars. We're talking about Martin Truex Jr. because he got that win on Sunday afternoon at Phoenix. Whenever we talk about diecast, I like to remind you, make sure that there is a certificate of authenticity with the diecast. whether it's a certificate of authenticity from Action or Lionel or Plan B Sales, or if you buy it from a fan club, one of the drivers' fan clubs, make sure that they have a certificate of authenticity. That way that you know that driver touched the windshield of that car with that pen. And that's what we're looking at with Martin Truex Jr. and autographed diecast. We have a lot of neat stuff, and you know, I hope you're on the email list from Circle B Diecast, because every day it seems like something new is coming out. I saw just recently Kyle Busch's what was the chocolate car that he had at Vegas, Ethel M's chocolate. Okay, I'm surprised I didn't remember that, because years and years ago, I was hosting a program on Sirius XM NASCAR radio, and someone from Ethel M's Chocolate reached out, and I ended up going on a tasting. Yes, a chocolate tasting at Ethel M's Chocolate in Las Vegas. That car I see was out. So you need to just follow along. Follow along here on Facebook if you're on Facebook with this Facebook Live broadcast, on our social media channels. I know some of you are on Twitter, Twitch, or the other channels. Follow along with our social media channels. There is stuff happening. I know we're talking about Martin Truex Jr. There's stuff happening every day that's in stock and different items. So make sure that you follow along with us. Get on the emailing list, because there's all kinds of deals. We're always wheeling and dealing, that's for sure, here at Circle B Diecast. And so fun stuff. So let's see, the Cup, Truck, and Xfinity are all in Atlanta this week. So Atlanta Motor Speedway, you have that doubleheader on Saturday afternoon with the Truck and the Xfinity cars, and then the Cup Series on Sunday. And then next weekend, it's Bristol Dirt for the trucks and for the Cup Series, and it is going to be some good stuff, that's for sure. So great racing coming up here on the tour. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Easter is after that. So we get a little breather, and then we get real serious with Martinsville after Easter. So it is fun. It is really cool and great stuff. That is for sure. And so, yeah. Oh, Richie wants to know, why were the door numbers so far back? I'm assuming you're asking about the Truex car. Richie, that's a big debate going on yesterday and today in the world. This was something they did in the All-Star race just to mix things up. The teams, some of the teams are saying sponsors want this spot because there's a bigger space here for sponsor logos. Some say that's not the case. Some say that is the case. And so NASCAR for the All-Star race last year allowed the teams and designed it so that the numbers could go back and that the sponsors could go in this space. There was a report yesterday from Adam Stern, who handles a lot of the business end of the sport, that NASCAR is still looking at numbers possibly here, maybe staying here, but even possibly way on the back of the cars. And that would give them all this space. And it's a negotiation between the team owners and NASCAR and some sponsors involved to see where they get spacing on the car. This is probably your biggest space other than the hood. And so that's the debate. And it is quite the debate. There's been a lot of people wringing their hands and arguing about it on Twitter over the last 24 hours. So I don't know. We got into, okay, I'll talk a little bit about numbers. And I know some of you and some fans really take numbers seriously, and I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with it. I don't. To me, these are decals on the car, and so we can put them wherever. But I understand traditionalists want the numbers where the numbers go, and I understand that, and I think it's a fair point. I always think about numbers. Anytime we have a number discussion, I think about the conversation I had, swear to God, when Dale Earnhardt Jr. went from the 8 at DEI to the 88 at Hendrick Motorsports, and we had an hour-long discussion on Sirius about what am I going to do with my Dale Earnhardt Jr. tattoo. Yeah. Some had tattoos where you could maybe add another 8. Others had it so it was designed in. And so numbers mean a lot to some people and a lot to some of you. I'm not in that camp, and that's fine. I respect numbers mean something. I'm fine with whatever. But that's why last year in the All-Star race was the first trial of this, where they moved the numbers back here right in front of the rear tire. And now they're back where they traditionally have been, but now there's also a movement in some form or fashion to move them even back there, or to give the teams options on what to do. Stay tuned. And if you like a good argument and people wringing their hands, go to Twitter, and you can follow along with many of the regular followers that are always angst-filled about NASCAR racing. You can do that. If you don't care about it, then stay off from Twitter, because there's a whole bunch of people that are all twisted up about this, and I get it, and that's fine. So there you have it. That's why, to answer your question, that's why the number was so far back. That was something they did in the All-Star race last year, and stay tuned. We'll see where that goes. So good question. I love that question. That's a great question. So appreciate you asking that. So I think with that, I think we're going to roll on out of here, ease on back out into the rainy weather. But let's review. We've got Martin Truex Jr. diecast, some autographed diecast here. We've got Martin Truex Jr. race winning diecast from this past weekend in Phoenix. You can get that pre-ordered, and we've got all kinds of deals. We told you last week, we've got 2.5 trucks at Bristol. We still have 2.5 trucks at Bristol. We just can't seem to get anyone to announce it. Fingers crossed. We believe they're all going to be announced soon. And when they do, diecast will be made available, but they haven't been announced yet. So stay tuned. Yes, and you're going to love it. We're going to love it. We're all going to love it. It's going to be big, that's for sure. So there you have it. Stay with us. CircleBDiecast.com. I'm Steve Post for Motor Racing Network. Remember, for all your diecast needs, go to www.circlebdiecast.com.